Maji Ma, and a Cohinta Majin it is here in Mullingar. Frosty, icy cold, you can feel it right in your lungs when you breathe in. It's wonderful. I am introducing this beautiful drum spirit that was crafted in a 4-day ceremony in Aotearoa, New Zealand in Canterbury with the intention of opening hearts. And it was very poignant too. I was after the end of a 400-kilometre walk from the very top of Aotearoa, New Zealand, 99 Mile Beach, even though it's not 99 miles, down to Auckland, and then flew from Auckland into Canterbury on the last few days before I returned to work to craft this beautiful drum with a lovely woman, Chalice Malcolm. And, you know, first of all, I thought we would be receiving, and all would be receiving, circular rims. That's what I had an expectation of, but I've learned a lot to release expectations. And I received this beautiful one, which is the shape of a cosmic egg, a cosmic womb. And I absolutely love her, and I'm so grateful. And we had an opportunity to sleep with the skin of the deer that we travelled with and asked for permission from the deer spirit, which is a very beautiful journey that we went on, and in the bucket of water. So I was like, yes, I am open for that. Now, it was quite smelly, as one can imagine. And I slept with the deer skin in the bucket of water and the rim of the drum beside the water, and had some very powerful dreams that night of ancestors coming through. And also I heard of the Hopi. Now, I was unaware at the time of who the Hopi people are, and they're very much connected now that I'm aware of to the Rainbow Prophecy. And that's when these 4 elements graced my vision. And I'm very happy that at the time it wasn't more artistic than that. And yes, it was when I heard my drum beat for the very first time. Now, bear in mind, the skin of the deer is in the bucket of water and the rim is on the ground. And this is the drum that I've travelled the world with, and with Papatwanoku essence is playing through opening hearts, and with the Maori and the Waitaha, the people of peace. Oya shia kitia kitia, haya kitia kitia na yako, oya shia kitia, haya kitia. And the energy flows through beautifully. Ayakiti, ashiakiti, anayakiti, ayakiti. As we connect to our heart, oyashiakiti, in the heart of Mother Earth that beats with all love. So this beautiful drum will be present tomorrow at Barndore Creative Studio, Sunday, July. Why do I keep saying July? January the 4th, 2 to 4 p.m. And there's still spaces available. If anyone feels the call, if you have a knowing or a feeling or energy that's flying around, you're like, what's this? Or you might even have a bit of a pain, you haven't even banged your leg or arm off something. These can all be signs from your ancestors that it's time to gather and to do the work. And to share a little bit more in depth about myself, I have spoken in Purple Raven, Garth Allery, spoken my truth in front of the beautiful people of that community. And I hold no secrets. And I'm here to share. Now, it's interesting how my right eye went I hold no secrets about my personal human life, but I definitely hold some sacred messages and transmissions and teachings and energies that I have received. That feels good to speak that. Truth. I've got to be true in everything and honesty in everything. So for people who know me and who've been at those talks, wonderful. And this is for people who might be just coming across me for the very first time, and also for people who might be tuning in who knew me as the old energy, as a young lost man, boy, walking and roaming the streets endlessly in drunken hazes and drug-fueled hazes and wild antics, to where I am now as the man I've always meant to be. And through the love of Ataroa and Poptuanuku and the land spirits and the water spirits bring me home to my heart. And with the beautiful plant spirits that I'm going to share and speak more in depth soon, to break through all of the illusion and the corruption and the density. And to them where Era rang the phone, Mahambukal Tara Shakawaya, come on home. Which is really wonderful and so joyful to be here in Era and centered in my heart, where I can see the beauty of the land and the magic of the land and connect to the ancient land beyond the history books. And where I also can see and witness the pain and the hurts and how the drug fuel has just taken off even more. But I can see it, witness and observe it in balance, and to begin create spaces for people to come to who are ready to, with pure intention of their heart, to overcome these addictions. And that leads me to when I really, when I was younger, had felt the call to leave Ireland, to leave Éire at the time, because I was deep in all of it. Deep in the drink, in the drugs, addicted to porn, to masturbation. I lost my virginity to an escort at 18 in Amsterdam. And I was never able to fully heal from that experience, and no one could fully receive me lovingly and compassionately either. And what ended up happening, I ended up reverting from a very intense breakdown, nervous breakdown for a couple of weeks. Reverting back after a couple of years to going back to see the ladies of the night and the escorts for an addiction for over, what was it, maybe 15 years. Let me do my mathematics. Yeah, maybe 10 to 15 years, we'll say, in that ballpark. And also the addictions of self-loathing, of feeding the story, unalivened tendencies and energies that are surrounding me, and copious amounts of alcohol. And I've overcome these addictions and released them without any shame or any guilt. And I'm here to share with people is that there's nothing that you can overcome. There's never how far, how low you go. It begins within you. Once you forgive yourself, you are forgiven. Once you begin to walk in the 1% in the right direction, the universe, the cosmos, the divinity all aligns in your favor. And lovingly, I'm very aware of how deep and how immense and how forgetful that journey is, and especially when you're surrounded by brothers and sisters who are also lost, subconsciously supporting one another in these actions, in these ways. You don't see anything that is wrong with it because you're surrounded by people who are doing the same thing. And I'm going to change the word wrong, because I feel everything has purpose in our growth and in our learning and in our experiences. So removing all judgments. But I was very deep in it all, and being attention dialed into a higher dimension. I was hyper-focused into all of these addictions and actions unaligned with love. And to share a little bit further with you there is that the masturbation began when I was 12, and that was my first secret. I felt I was very pure all the way up to 12 years of age. And that was my first secret coming home, and obviously being in a very Catholic, dense, energetic country through fear, power, greed, control, manipulation at the height of it. Yeah, I had that on top of everything else. You know, am I going to hell, and all of these kind of things. And that progressed and progressed. And such is the bane of porn in society. It's the only thing that's free in the system. So you must question, why is it free? And it corrupts the mind, the body, the spirit, and the soul. And we're giving away our seed of our life, our frequency and our vibration and our energy as it's being loosed. And the dopamine, or the levels, it just keeps on rising, and before you know it, you're going into other things and other views and more out of alignment with your spirit and your soul. And that's the path that I went for so long. So as I shared, I was deep in it, deep in the density, drinking a lot, on the drugs too, and I was beginning to forget things. I was beginning to hurt people. It wasn't my intention to go out and hurt people, but I did. And then it was called for me to be accountable and responsible. That took some time to build. I was extremely fragile, and this is at a time unaware of all the spiritual attack and all the spiritual warfare and mental warfare, all the manipulation, all of the corruption. And there was also something that happened to me that was unveiled to me. I don't have evidence, but it was unveiled to me, and I'm just not ready to share it in this moment. But that spoke the picture of my life as energies attached on. And so I walked into my room one day and I just said to myself, am I sick of torturing myself? And the answer was yes. And that was the beginning of the change. I really wanted to change. And this is where beautiful plant medicina, shiaki, came into my life. And I want to share this firstly, that the plant medicine world and plant medicines is not for everybody. It's a space that you must enter in great reverence and respect and purity, integrity. And to do the inner work beforehand, and to know thyself to your greatest abilities. And to be aware, if you step into this space, that all that you know potentially will change. And to sit with the question, are you open to changing? Because if you resist, it can be extremely challenging, debilitating. Or if you flow and meet the beautiful sacred medicines halfway, they show you what is to be brought up to be healed. And it's an arduous task, if that is the word. Extremely challenging beyond words. Nothing can be written how challenging it can be for some people. And I speak for myself. So once I spoke that word about sick of torturing myself, and the answer was yes, then I was also at that time beginning jiu-jitsu, beginning to naturally move away from alcohol and drink, and I began to refrain from masturbation, and everything was just kind of coming together really beautifully. I was meeting powerful, honest men on the mats of jiu-jitsu, because in that environment there's no bullshit, as you will be discovered when you roll on the mat. And one of these brothers was working very closely with the medicine, and he offered if I would like to partake, and it was an instant yes. And sharing about these beautiful plant medicines as the plant medicines flow through in these gatherings and in every breath and every step that I walk. Which is wonderful and joyful. And from sitting with the beautiful sacred medicine is when everything began to arise. It's when my hands began to move and my voice began to sing, and also the great darkness that was within my vessel became to light. And a week after sitting with the medicine is the integration time, is the most powerful time. And that's when I had this feeling in my womb in my emotions. And it was about my darkest secret. And I felt there was a choice, as we always have a choice. Do we be brave and courageous and speak it and release it? Or do we continue to hold on to it like we do with so many secrets in this life, in a fear and projection or judgment of others that in truth is not even there because it's what we put on ourselves? And I felt I'm ready to speak. And I asked a beautiful brother of mine if he'd come to a mountain with me. We walked to the top of a mountain and we perched on the edge of the mountain, and 3 beautiful women came, sat behind us, and we're like, beautiful, there's 3 angels guarding us. And I spoke in a low tone, and I spoke to my friend. And what I spoke to him was something that I didn't feel I could walk this earth if anybody knew, if anybody found out about my secret. And so I spoke to him and I said, I've been addicted to going to see escorts, the ladies of the night, and I progressed into transsexual porn and to seeing transsexual escorts. And I said, it doesn't feel good, doesn't feel aligned, and I'm just over it. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to release it, and I'm speaking my truth. And this is something I held so heavily in every breath and every step, in my cells, in my atoms, in my bones, around people, afraid of drinking. Things were coming out and speaking, but yet unable to speak my truth. So I would just have these outbursts without being able to explain why. Because there's so many secrets on top of secrets on top of secrets. As soon as I spoke this to my friend, wow, the weight was gone. I realized, what was I even concerned about? What is this? And in that moment, my brother found his courage to share his darkest secret. Oh yes, Shiakiti. Oh! And we both got to release this from one another. It's so powerful when we are seen, witnessed and received. It's so healing in the eternal moment of now, as the darkness and the shadows loses its power and its strength, for in truth we were given it. And so we release it. And we both skipped off the mountain, all joyful and happy. And he dropped me home and I felt, this is it. I've done it. And I walked into my room and I seen there was a copper cross hanging on the wall. That I had bought in Amsterdam when I went to Amsterdam on a trip with friends to the red light district. I was very innocent with a group of friends who I wouldn't normally have hung around with, but they're lovely people. And they were friendly and they invited me to come along. And then I realized and I looked at it, and that's when I lost my virginity to the lady of the night at 18 on Holy Thursday. Very biblical, into Good Friday, on drinking drugs. And I realized, I've been carrying that cross for 18 years. And my work has only begun, and it's never stopped since, with due diligence in every breath and every step that I take. Well, what I'm sharing is with the plant kingdom, it helped me to break through the ego. And when I say break through the ego, unearth the ego. If we rub an apple, you don't chop off your arm. What good is that? So I became aware of the ego and to walk alongside it. It was the plants that helped me to get through the density, and through the forgetfulness, and through the amnesia. Now, I was unaware at the time that I've worked lifetimes with the plants, all held in soul, plant veins crawling. Also was unaware at the time, lovely and humbly sharing that I'm a guardian of light. So going into these spaces, these energetic, consciousness open, multidimensional plant kingdom world spaces, it's a highly sensitive place to be when you're a highly sensitive being. And there is a lot of infiltration through everything. And then we have shamans, curanderos and curanderas and brujerios and all of these lines of people who, it's a world that's very dense in jealousy and envy and corruption. So I'm walking in, the first ceremony was lovely. It was a beautiful woman, and I've always connected with the feminine, and the beautiful rose and divine femme always guiding me, so I always feel comfortable in a space with women. But the second one was with a man, a facilitator, and just the experience, I can say it was the most challenging experience I've probably had in my life. But also the greatest gift, as these experiences, when we look at them, are activations. So I'm going in, I've got some battles to face, I've got some inner demons, of course, but when I walked in, I realised I was walking into a cosmic spiritual warfare, and it was just like as if this veil was just lifted and thrown straight in like Bambi on ice. And it had to be this way, I feel lovingly, in order to break through all of the heavy conditioning and programming, all the spiritual attacks, all of the demonic entities and everything else that was placed upon my life before I was even born into this life. And then I'm in a room with a facilitator lovingly, which I'm aware of now is a brujerio, a sorcerer. And that is someone who practices with the medicines but stops doing their healing, stops doing their work, to get forgetful of where the energies come from, that is from the divine source. And they feel that they are the power and they are the energy, and they look to take shortcuts and they look to siphon energy. And how I can say this so freely is that during the experience, I looked at this man and I could see red circles around his eyes in this vision. That's a sign. So after this experience, I was catapulted into the dark night of the soul. There was a Pandora box that was opened. And I was hysterical, nervous breakdown. And this facilitator did not want to even talk to me. And eventually we ended up coming face to face, and he just said to me, "You've got something dark in you." And he walked away. So Pandora box on top of a Pandora box. But I'm so grateful for all of the divine support and immeasurable support and the divine intelligence that flows through after deep work of going very deep within myself to realise, hang on a second. If there is that much darkness within me, that means there's that much light within me. And that is what I choose to focus on. And after 3 months of going very deep within on myself, I said, I've enough of this, and I reclaim my power. And that was the beginning of the change. Now, after that ceremony, I felt, that's me done. I've enough plant medicine, thank you. Very, very grateful to receive, but that was just, yeah. But I also had a feeling that within me, to overcome this, I needed to sit with the medicine again. To overcome all of the immensity of what was experienced of that session. And maybe someday I'll fill that in more detail. But I feel you can feel the expression of what I'm sharing. And so I did. And I went to sit with the medicine a third time. After a year. Courageous soul, brave soul. And when I arrived where this ceremony was, these old energies, unalivened energies surrounded me. And really could feel it within my vessel and my being of these energies speaking to take me out. Now I experienced this in the last ceremony and the ceremony before. But where there is great tension and where there is great opposing forces, there's a great light and a great purpose. So as soon as I got into this venue, there was a forest, straight down into the forest. I work with my pacho, beautiful sacred tobacco, and happy raposito. And it's the first time in my life that I said, thank you, darkness. Ha! Thank you for showing me the light, for I am aware. And in that moment, in the forest, dense forest, the light shone through and landed on my face. And I walked up into the ceremony space, cleansed and purified and grounded and anchored in my divinity and absolute truth. And went through a very powerful experience that night. Shia Kitiana. There's a lot that flowed through that experience. I'm just feeling into how much to share in this moment. Shia Kitiana hiana. Aya Kitiana hiano yo yo. We are Shia Kitiana. So I will flow a little bit more here. Again, being unaware of how sensitive I am, I'm just continuing to learn with the medicine. And it's very common practice, I would say, outside of the jungle for people to receive 2 cups of medicine. Now, I've been to the jungle, grateful, blissful and honoured to be there. And all I would receive would be this much. And I was receiving 2 cups. So it was a very galactic experience, very deep. I had to move through a lot of heavy energies. As these heavy energies attempt to take you away from the truth of who you are. The grounding. And to anchor in the light in your remembrance. And my body was doing things that are unexplainable to physics and science. And such was the light that was emitting. So before the ceremonies, would fast and do a deep fast and prepare the body and speak to the medicines and ask permission and to come in with purity and integrity and absent from watching TV and social media or sexual interactions in any way, shape or form. And with the 2 cups, which is very powerful, at one point of the ceremony, my hands came together in a prayer mode. Now I practice a lot of jiu-jitsu, 85 baby, don't stretch enough, so I'm not very flexible. But my hands came together in the prayer mode and they spun 360 degrees at speed of lightning. And it was, I'm grateful to be grounded in that experience and to just trust. But when we look at it, we are beings of light. We are vibration and frequency. And when we emit and we are beaming in our full light, we're atoms and cells, we are limitless. And this is in truth of who we are. And this brings me to sharing this passage that I wrote in my book at some stage during my experiences, and sharing this with people who come to the sessions and to the gatherings is awareness of our thoughts. And when we believe in faith, we can heal. The first place we lose our battle is our thinking. If you think it's permanent, then it's permanent. If you think you've reached your limits, then you have. If you think you'll never get well, then you won't. You have to change your thinking. You need to see everything that's holding you back, every obstacle, every limitation, as only temporary. And this is what we work with. So from that experience, I felt a call very deeply to travel to the jungle. And I've been there twice to receive beautiful ayahuasca, beautiful oni, and to do some deities. And it's from these deities is where the powerful plants have come through and start singing. Now I'm going to share with you here first is that I'm not a traditional lineage holder. I don't have any teachers. I'm not a member of any Yeah, cultures or lineages or anything of this such. I haven't practiced or studied under anyone. And this can be a red flag for people, and lovingly it would have been a red flag for me, only for I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. And Great Spirit has been my teacher. The plants have been my teacher. And that is quite challenging in itself, as I'm not a way of the traditional way. I like to say I'm a way of love. And I'm here to go through the traditions, and I'm here to go through the grain. I'm not here to go along the grain. I'm here to ruffle feathers. And unbeknownst to me at the times of all the ceremonies and the gatherings where I've been, is that I've been brought to witness darkness forgetful of light. And I was the bait. And with God's weight. Because these beings and these people that I've went to in Peru, and world renowned and 30 years, 40 years experience, have all attempted to reach and take the light that is within. I've also had world renowned shamans enter into my dream space. Some of these shamans are upper end retreats that are thousands and thousands of dollars. There's all types of spirits and shamans that have come into my dream space. I've been under immense attack, was for so many years. And the only explanation, the only reason why I'm here is divinity. It's Divine Mother, Divine Father of all, for a higher purpose. The betrayals and the death betrayals and everything else that comes along with it. But I'm grateful to be here and joyful to be here and to be an embodiment and a guardian of light, and to share this medicine, to share the light and the vibration and frequency of Divine Mother, Divine Father of all, with all who are open and ready and alive to do the work. Lovely to hear, Karen. Hallelujah. And I had to go through these immense battles and face off with the devil many times, and I've met the devil face to face, and I've emerged victorious. And to see that I am, and that I am the dark and the light. And for when you rest in that place, those energies are unable to fight with itself. And I had to go through the immensity of the human experience, to feel deeply, to be hurt deeply, and to heal and to not compromise my heart and love, in order to ground and anchor in the energies, not to abuse them. Lovingly sharing, there is many powerful beacons of light on this earth, many way shores, many beautiful brothers and sisters, autistic, attention lighting to higher dimension, many brothers and sisters who feel different, that were never meant to fit in because you're meant to rebel. And you split the word in half as rebel is change the frequency. The corruption runs deep, the infiltration runs deep, and it's gone into all levels, into all homes, bloodlines and lineages, and that's why we're called here. It has reached into the jungles and into the lineages and people who are practicing the medicines, into the native lines. There is brothers out there who are Chanupa sacred peace pipe guardians who are abusing their power on very deep levels, in human trafficking. There is people perceive themselves to be the shaman and to be the healer, but they're siphoning. So this is something for us all to be aware of. And this is why there's people coming in now, anchoring in the light and the guardian of light, without the traditional teachings and the traditional ways. It's the way of love and purity and remembrance, to hold that and to bring all of our brothers and sisters back. So really, yeah, really flowing with all of this that wants to be shared and to be flowed, and there's so much more, and just giving more depth into the journey that I've been through in order to be a guardian of light, in order to hold these spaces, that there's no judgment, there's no rights or wrongs, and that we can release it all, release all the shame and the guilt. And once we forgive ourselves, we are forgiven, and walk into the right direction, if even it's only 1%. Start to lower the drink intake, start to lower the smoking, start to speak nicely to yourself, starting to open up and to remember and to receive love and remembrance of who you are, in your authority, in your authenticity, because you're here to be seen, felt, heard and experienced, because you are love and you are loved, and love is the greatest power in the universe. And we are one, and we're a tribal people, and we get together in this remembrance, especially in this age of technology. And this is why these spaces are extra powerful in these days when we're so disconnected. So we're here for remembrance, and the essence of all of these practices and sharings and everything that I share is remembrance of your power, of reclaiming your power, of anchoring in and releasing, and to dance together. Hey, ho, ha, ho, ho. Yeah, lovely. So I'm just flowing with these lives and allow things to share what they want to share. I'm doing my best, and sometimes I feel there's some things that I leave out. Sometimes I feel maybe there's some things that I speak that maybe I should not. There's no should. But I'm just learning and growing and playing. There's a lot within me that's here to be seen, to be expressed and to be shared lovingly. And I really feel the dragons within, the dark divine feminine and the divine feminine great mother, who's now looking to be expressed and to be seen and to be heard through us all, through our cosmic womb. So love to everyone who's going to join tomorrow at Barndore Creative Studios, 2 to 4 p.m. A lovely, joyful experience where you high potential, you get to feel energy flying throughout your body, which is really lovely and releasing and cleansing, rejuvenating. And you're doing this great work for yourself first, which is you do more for the universe, for yourself first than anybody else. And then you're doing the work for your family and for all of humanity. So I honour you, and I'm grateful for all who are present in presence. Gral mór to your day. Slán agus Bannock.